Good evening. It's about 7:15 on the 11th of March. It's not a Friday night rant. What is it? Well, it's something. Whatever. I just felt like doing this because after I did my very first headphone audio test, I realized, it's not fair for me to have this test and then ask you people to go along with it if you don't have certain equipment. Now, okay, so look, in the past I have said that audiophiles want you to have, a certain type of headphone, a certain type of DAC, a certain type of amplifier. Well, unfortunately, in order to get the best out of your headphone, even a cheap headphone, you need to go beyond just your cell phone, beyond your iPod, beyond your onboard motherboard audio that's in your computer. It doesn't matter if you have a Mac or a PC, something you've built, something you've purchased at a store, it doesn't matter. In order to take your audio listening level up several notches, not just one or two, but many notches, you should have an option, the ability to get an amplifier. An amp DAC is what you're really looking for. But you don't really want to spend the money. I wouldn't want to spend the money. When I was first starting out buying headphones, I had never purchased an amp DAC before. And in this instance, when I first got my very first headphones, which were the Focal Elex, the headphones that started it all, I purchased a relatively affordable amp DAC. And I'll tell you what it is. When I say relatively affordable, I mean something that virtually everybody should be able to buy. But before I get there, I do want to tell you the amp DAC that I'm using now, the one I use all the time, the one that I really, really like, and it's from this company, JDS Labs. It's an American company, and they have a variety of amp DACs. Some are cheaper than others, and sometimes it gets a little confusing if you're not in the know. Which one do you want? I mean, there's some that's, what is this $45 switcher thing? What's a Subjective 3? What's an L amp? What is this? Well, the bottom line is the one that I have is this one right here, the Element. It's for $350. I couldn't find it anywhere else but from this website, their own website. It's a fantastic amp DAC. I really could not sing higher praises for it. But you can also get just a regular amp, a $99 amp from them as well. And when you're looking for an amp, you want to make sure there's a way for you to connect to your computer or whatever source that you have, whether it's an MP3 player, it's a dedicated digital audio player, it's an iPod, whatever. In this $99 amp, you do have the ability to put in RCA and take out RCA if you want to use it as in a stack. What is a stack? A stack is you have an amp and you have a separate DAC. A DAC, a digital to analog converter, essentially takes digital signal, converts it to analog. Analog would be the headphone portion. So there's some stuff going on back here, and if you're not at all familiar with it, all that matters is you got to find a way to get your audio into the RCA, and then on the other side, the front side, you have your headphone, here's the knob, and that's it. It's very simple, and I've read very good reviews about this. But $99 is a bit of money here. The old switcher, I wouldn't worry about. That's the switching outputs and inputs. Don't worry about that. The Subjective 3, that's for changing the frequency. So if you want a little bit more bass, a little bit more mid, a little bit more treble in your music, this is how you do it. It's go in between. Again, not something that anybody would really want to start off with. Maybe you do, I don't know, but keep your focus on the amplifier. All right, so here you can see $99, you can probably get something done. If you want to step up a little bit, then you want to go, spend at least another $150. But you don't want to spend $150. You don't even know if you need an amp DAC. So what do you do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. This is the other amp. This is my first amp DAC that I got. This is it right here for $65. This is what I paid from Amazon. This is the FX Audio DAC-X6. It's a lot going on to the name. But is fantastic. It just sits on my desk, hooked up to my PC. This is what I use when I want to game. This is hooked up to my PC. I plug in my gaming headphones, and I game away. And I get much, much, much better results from this versus the onboard sound from the motherboard. This is fantastic. I would not spend any more money for an amp DAC for gaming. For me, this is plenty. I would not have purchased the JDS Labs for gaming. That's overkill. This, however, for gaming is perfect. It is also very good for music. Whenever I want to stream Spotify on my PC, and I'm working on my PC, this works fantastic. Can I tell the difference between this and the JDS Labs? Yeah, now that I have both, yes, I can tell the difference. But here, you have the power switch, you have a selector switch, because you have 3 different modes of connecting this to something. You can do USB, which is what I have. I have it connected for PC USB in. You can do optical in. You can do coaxial in. There's also left and right out if you want to, daisy chain this to something else. And there's a dedicated power. So this provides a substantial amount of power for your headphones. And I think somewhere down here it says what it is. So output power. I mean, this is a lot for something this cheap and this reliable. This is great. You get a watt of power for 16 ohm headphones, 910 milliwatts for 32 ohm, 610 for 62 ohm, and all the way up to 600 ohm headphones, you get 90 milliwatts, which is not a whole lot for 600 ohm. But that's, you're going to have to buy something that's several $100s to get a lot more output for 600 ohms. But most of your headphones, if you're starting out, are going to stay between probably 32 and maybe 150 ohms at max. So this is the range you're looking at. If you can find 16 ohm headphones somewhere, great. 16 ohm headphones are probably going to be something like IEMs, in-ear monitors, or it's like think of AirPods with a cord. So regular earbuds. That's what I meant to say. And that's a lot of power going to them. This is what I use. I have no intention of upgrading this whatsoever. And in this photograph, you see that the amp DAC is actually being used with the Philips X2 because, like I said, it works great for music. But there's a few other options. I also have the X Duo XD-05. Ugh, that's a lot to say, isn't it? But this, I like this because this is portable and it provides a substantial amount of power for being portable. It's got a nice little LCD on the front. You have a great knob. And by being portable, I mean it runs off of batteries. It can also run off of USB because USB will power it. But it runs off of batteries. So this is great for portability. $200. I think I got it for a little bit cheaper than $200. I always try to get things cheaper than the MSRP. I think most people want that. The suitable headphone impedance is 8 ohms to 300 ohms. So this is different from the FX audio, where the FX audio, the minimum is 16 ohms and it goes all the way to 600. This is a little bit more narrow. It goes from 8 ohms to 300 ohms. And that's perfectly all right because this is for on the go. And I wonder if it shows somewhere here the milliwatts that drive it. It doesn't seem to be here, but regardless, they put out a good amount of volume. Now, would I pick this over the FX audio? No. If I'm sitting at my desk, I would use the FX audio before I would use the X Duo. The X Duo is great for portable. If you want to drive something, and by drive, I mean if you want to use headphones on the go, this is a great solution. There's also this. This is also desktop. This is the Knob Sound NS-02E. Oh, it just rolls off your tongue, right? So this is for $50. I think I got it for $45. And it's made of metal. It's got this tube. And if you don't know anything about tube amps, neither do I. This is why I purchased a $45 tube amp before I purchased, a bigger tube amp. I don't really hear the difference, frankly, between this tube amp and a solid state tube amp like this one, like the FX Audio. What's the difference between a solid state tube amp? A solid state amp and a tube amp? I don't know. There's a tube in it. It does change the sound. I'm goofing around. It does change the sound. Good tubes will, in fact, give you a very different sound stage versus any other amp DAC that I've been talking about right now, like the X Duo, the FX Audio, the Audio Quest. We haven't gotten there yet. The JDS Labs. We'll get to the Audio Quest. So knobs, I have this, and it puts out fine sound. I don't think this is as good as the X Duo, so I wouldn't put this above the X Duo, nor would I put this above the FX Audio. Another option, which I think is a really popular one, is this. It's called the Mica Origin G2. G2 stands for Gen 2, so this is the second version. Really, it's the third revision. There was the Mica Origin, then there was the Origin Plus, and now there's the Origin G2. So this is really the third revision of it. And this is really good. You will read reviews, watch reviews about this thing that are, people are very impressed by what this thing can do. And this is a very good solution. It's $109. So this can also be portable in a sense, but you have to have it connected to your PC because it'll get power from a USB. You can also plug it in to the DC 5 volt if you have it, but again, this is not portable. The X Duo is portable, runs off of batteries. This Mica Origin doesn't. I haven't tried plugging this into an external battery pack to see if that would work, but if you're going to go through all that hassle, you're going to have a lot in your pocket, and it doesn't make sense. You might as well just go for the X Duo and pay a little bit more. The Audio Quest is another amp DAC, and this is really neat. This is very expensive. It's $200 for this little USB stick thing. Plugs into your USB port on any computer, and it takes over, and the sound that comes out of it, it's supposed to be very good. I don't have one. I cannot say. So this is an option, but I think for somebody who wants premium, well, I don't know premium sound, but if you want good sound out of the headphones that you have or you want to buy, and you want to stay within a budget of between, say, $45 and $100, this is not the way to go. Because if you've noticed, there's no volume knob on this. The volume is still controlled over the laptop or your desktop, or if you have inline volume on your headphones, then through that. So I really wouldn't recommend something like this. Overall, which is my recommendation, I would say for desktop, $65, DAC X6 from FX Audio is the one to go. That is since February 8th. I purchased on February 8th, and I really like it. So this would be my recommendation if you want to invest a little bit into your headphones. Even if you're not looking for more headphones, you're happy with what you have, I would recommend looking at something like FX Audio and trying it out. And the great thing about buying it from somewhere like Amazon, especially with Prime, is that you'll get it within a couple of days, and there's a return policy with no hassle. So if you don't like it, you can just return it and get your money back within a few hours. Well, few days. So that's what this little video has been about, to try to encourage people to think a little bit beyond just getting new headphones. Sometimes just getting a more powerful source material. So instead of just coming out of your MP3 player or your computer directly, having a go-between like an amp DAC could make the whole difference, and you may not even want to buy a new set of headphones.